Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I am here at PAX Unplugged 2018 with the designer of Star Realms and Hero Realms himself, Rob Dougherty.
Hey.
Hey, and so, Rob, would you like to talk to us about some of the scenarios for Star Realms Frontiers that have been recently released and that gave you some extra challenges you were preparing to release the game?
Sure. So one of the cool things we were able to do with Frontiers is incorporate solo and cooperative challenges through these large oversized cards that we have here. Now, a couple of these had existed before in the original Gambit set, and if you've played the app, there's scenarios in there which are direct translations of like the Nemesis Beast, for example. We had some existing scenarios, and these were kind of fun design challenges because we started with a deck builder that's designed for PvP, and then wanted to create solo or cooperative challenge experiences. And so we've got cards like the Nemesis Beast, and the Nemesis Beast, every turn it eats one card in the trade row, and then that card is like a placeholder to count how much combat it gets. So its combat grows every single turn, so it's getting bigger and bigger and stronger, and it also gets special abilities based on colors of cards that come up, and so it will have special bonuses and this ever-growing power, and basically the players have to try and do 50 damage to it before it eats them all. For Frontiers, we had a Kickstarter for it, and it went nuts. Basically, we raised 1.1 million, which was phenomenal. But in the process of that, we unlocked a lot of stretch goals, and so we were constantly trying to think of, okay, what's something cool we can add to the game, interacting with our backers and getting suggestions for them. And the idea of more challenges was really exciting to people. People wanted to have more of these. So we initially we were going to have one challenge, and we ended up adding 6 plus oversized copies of the 2 old ones. So basically, I had to design 6 new challenges for Star Realms, and of course, I wanted each one of them to play differently and have a different feel to it. So that was a big design challenge, because you gotta sort of come up with a concept for each one, make sure it's different enough from the other ones that you're doing, and has a good feel to it, and then of course make it balanced for the varying numbers of players in them. I was really excited about how these came out. I like all of them. I think my favorite of these is the dimensional horror. I like the way the sort of the tentacle mechanic works. It's kind of visceral in that basically you're flipping over at the beginning of the game. You flip over 10 cards, and you break up those from the market, and you break up those cards by color, and those each represent a tentacle of this scary space monster. The combat that they provide is based on the length of them, and as you add cards, you get special abilities based on the color of the cards in a similar way that the Nemesis Beast does. But players can attack the tentacles by dealing combat equal to the cost of a card in the tentacle, so you get these interesting decisions of which tentacles do you want to go after based on what cards are coming up, it has it's sort of very neat and very different from the others. Another one that was really fun one for me was the Cost of Freedom, where basically the Trade Federation has decided that they want to acquire your Star Realm, and unlike the Blob Assault, where not surprisingly it's a very combat-based, they're just smashing you mission. With the Cost of Freedom, the Trade Federation has an economic victory that they can get. They're basically buying these big expensive cards, and if they buy enough of them, you just lose. So you have to defeat them before they basically buy their way to victory. It was a really fun and exciting process making these, but yes, it definitely took quite a while.
Well, we are appreciative, I have no doubt. So not only do you offer scenario-based solo play in Star Realms, but Hero Realms has been seeing some further developments in terms of campaign and co-op play. So
yes.
Would you like to comment on the differences that pop up in terms of design for that?
So basically, when Hero Realms from the very beginning had solo and cooperative play in mind. So when we made Star Realms, we got a lot of requests for, hey, can you do a fantasy version of this? And a lot of people just wanted a fantasy skin. Just take the same game and put fantasy art on it because I like fantasy more. So we wanted to do this because clearly there was demand for it, but we didn't just want to do a reskin. We wanted to think about what it would mean to have a fantasy deck builder like that. And when we thought of fantasy, it was much more about individuals. So like the Tolkien stories come to mind. We're following a small group of adventurers and with the fate of the world in their hands, and basically they are progressing over time and improving their skills and finding awesome stuff that they can use. So we wanted to have that kind of role-playing style feel of development over time. With Hero Realms, I wanted to create a campaigning leveling deck building game where basically you choose characters, you get together with your friends, or you go on an adventure by yourself, and you battle bad guys, you get treasure, you gain experience, you improve your character, just like you would with a role-playing game. But my big concern with that was Star Realms has lots of very casual fans, so people who are not really hardcore gamers and they love the simplicity and fun of the Star Realms play. So what I decided to do with Hero Realms was to break it up into pieces and have a base game which was very Star Realms-like, and so that the casual players would be able to transition into with very smoothly with no problems, and then add the character packs as a sort of a level they can add to that and have diverse starting positions and some flavorful abilities to go along with that. And then as the next step, bringing in the campaign set. So we have the Ruin of Thandar. It sort of realizes the full vision of Hero Realms. And in this, you have, instead of the single one-shot challenges that you have in Star Realms, you have a full campaign, and the campaign we've got, of course, the campaign rule book, but we also have an adventure book, and in the adventure book, it sets the scene where there's backstory, which you read aloud to all the players, set up information, and then rules for what you do when you complete the encounter, getting rewards, etc. This creates more of a story feel, and you get decision points where you can decide to do one thing or another. So it has a little bit of a choose your own adventure style feel to it, and those decisions you make have ramifications later on in the game. They will have things will come back that you saw earlier, and so it has some nice, cool, connected story elements there. And you can really customize your character character over time. Each encounter, at the end of the encounter, you will put back all the stuff you bought from the market, but at the end of the encounter, you'll get rewards, and those rewards will sometimes be treasure. And we broke up the treasure by classes, so it'll say you get a class treasure. So you take the treasures for your class, shuffle them up, and get one at random, and that's a card that you get to keep with your deck. Might be a magic item, might be an additional champion that's joining you, and you also will frequently get experience points. And we designed entire role-playing game style skill trees. So basically, we have the skill and ability cards with the characters, and there's a list. There's a little progression chart and a list of what that means for each character class. So when you get an experience, you choose where to spend it. Do I want to get the 4A skill or the 4B skill ability? And when you buy that, it affects what future things you'll be able to purchase. We have that for the abilities, and we also have that for the skills. You can also use your experience points to increase your health. So you have a lot of ability to customize your character over time. So with the Star Realms, the solo and cooperative play is one-shot encounters, and that's because in Star Realms we're thinking big space epics. So basically,
is there any chance of a Star Realms like Space Odyssey campaign?
So not in the same way as Hero Realms. In the Hero Realms, it's a lot about your character progression, stuff that you find that you're adding to your deck, and your skills, and developing your skills in this very specific way. And that's because Hero Realms is focused on the individual. Star Realms is focused on the galactic empire level. So it's very, very big picture. So you could have like a military campaign style thing where you're focusing on this battle and that battle, but very likely those battles would involve different, entirely different people, like different admirals leading the same forces. If you look at world history, for example, many of the big battles of World War II, they had completely different military commanders in charge on the same side, because one was in Africa, one was in the Pacific, one was in Europe. While you do have you can follow multiple battles from the same commander. Many of the most interesting battles and most decisive battles are happening in different places with different people involved. But we could definitely have a connected story with those, but it wouldn't be about the progression of one individual or even necessarily the force itself, but more along the lines of the progression of a greater war or development of the Star Empires.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, was Dimensional Horror your favorite scenario to play test yourself? Do you play any games solo besides your own?
Yeah. So I don't play a ton of solo games outside of my own, but I really enjoy the concept of designing solo stuff. It's a lot of fun to be able to sort of play test as you're going. I made solo rules for Ascension, which was a game I worked on before Star Realms, and as a kid I would sometimes make solo rules for board games that I owned, and sometimes didn't have people to play against. The Dimensional Horror was my favorite of these, mainly because I like the sort of freshness of it. It was very, just extremely different from any of the other ones. I also we have a challenge for Hero Realms, which is much like a one-shot challenge, just like the Star Realms one, the Hydra, and that is available for download on the website. You can go to the HeroRealms.com and and download that challenge, and you can play it at home. That one was also super fun to design. I think that's actually my favorite solo design that I've done for any of the games thus far. So
really,
yeah, I mean for that one shot, encounter. Like the campaign has a different lead designer. It's done by Super Awesome Games with Danny Mandel at the head of the project. For Hero Realms, I sort of set the overall vision of what we wanted, and I did a lot of the design on the character level. So, for example, the skill trees and what all those things did, and how you could progress your characters. And Danny's team did the design of the campaign itself, the play of the campaign, and they did a phenomenal job with it. So while that may be a little more fun, I didn't personally design it. So of the ones I designed, the Hydra is my favorite.
Well, now I want to go try it again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Awesome.
for taking this time to talk to me, to talk to us.
Thank you guys.
Gamers, this is Mr. Robert Dougherty from White Wizard Games. Happy gaming, y'all.